Hello, friends, and welcome back to Claire's Corner of Calamity, where crafting, calm, and calamity meet regularly. I am coming to you today with my first, with the hiccups, and my first full diamond art painting. So there is a bit of a backstory into how I have gotten into this. Basically, a student of mine had a kit from the range of a snowflake made in like diamond art style, but slightly differently with different shapes and all the rest of it on there. And I thought it was beautiful and I loved it and I wanted to do one. And so I was looking on Vinted to see if I could find one and instead came across bigger diamond art paintings and lots more of them. And thus started my new obsession. Anywho, hyperfocus, not obsession, hyperfocus. Please excuse the hiccups. I may try and edit them out. What am I here to tell you today? So this was my first proper sized diamond art painting. I have done some other like kids crafting size ones before and enjoyed the process, but not the result. I fear that might still be the case, but we will see. My biggest problem at the moment is what I'm going to do about storing any of my diamond art paintings. And yeah, because they're not necessarily the sort of thing that I'm planning to put up on walls and have splashed all over my house because I don't necessarily like the final look. But I finished I think it's called a Sparkle Buddy that I'd bought for my son in Lidl's ages ago. He's most unimpressed with me that I finished it without him. And almost immediately the question in my mind is, how do I stop all the dust, because there's lots of it in my house? How do I stop all the dust from getting into, like, in between the drills on a diamond art painting? So the Sparkle Buddy is like a tiny Groot that will stand up on its own stand and presumably go and live in his bedroom somewhere. So that's probably kind of where I started in exploring YouTube in terms of what you do with a diamond art painting once it's completed. And that's led me on its own rabbit hole. I don't even want to think actually about how many tabs I've got open related to YouTube videos for diamond art painting. What I have definitely done is completely binge watched The Nerdy Painter. So as I'm sitting watching all these Nerdy Painter YouTube videos while doing my inside out thing, I'm thinking, oh, maybe this is something I could do. And so I ought to start documenting the process. And in true Claire fashion, any of the questions and comments that I had raised as I took these photos have disappeared out of my head. I should have written them down at the time. But at that point, I was like, this is a silly idea. I don't need to create a YouTube channel. I have enough going on in my life already. So here we have picture one. I have started my diamond art painting. I think there's a little bit up in the top left-hand corner, and my hand is definitely covering up what I didn't want you to see at this particular moment, as we can just go, oh, that's such a cool picture of all the inside out characters, which it is. And then I started. And straight away, as you can see from, is this sadness, isn't it? Sadness down in the bottom corner. Yeah, the colours were a little bit interesting. By interesting, I mean completely way off in some cases. So I'm starting to get irritated almost immediately with like, what the actual bleep is this? I can't remember why I took this photo of anger in such a close-up style. It was probably to do with the F's and the M's down at the bottom, and also in the eyes, like, who on earth? Like, you've obviously got a lot of G, which you'd think was white. It was not. But there's also KLC. The number threes are clearly one of the reds. So there was two reds that they looked really like not similar as I was doing them, but I think the overall effect of anger is actually ends up quite good. And then obviously you've got his eye, where you've got a tiny, like single drill of M and then 4 Fs, despite the fact that there's very clearly a red ring around his eye and the black pupil. So I think at this point, I'm still kind of thinking, what on earth is this business? Like, this is just ridiculous. We then have my setup where I'm doing my diamond art painting, and you get some insight into why this YouTube channel is called Claire's Corner of Calm-ity, being a play on words of calamity, because the state of my table there is basically indicative of the state of most of all of my house, especially at this moment in time. The other thing to note is how I was using and storing drills at this point in time. There were 20 different colours in this diamond art painting, and as I opened them and used them, I was just slicing off the entire top of the heat sealed packages, which did make putting any spare drills back in fairly easy. But then, as you can see, I was just using pegs to keep them kind of together the right way up. And of course, yes, naturally, I had some spills. That was fun amongst the rest of the chaos that is clearly on my table. Then we have, I can't remember, is this Anxiety? The purple one? But look at how ridiculous those colours are. I mean, come on. We've got a really dark blue and a really bright pink in there when he's purple. What are you thinking? There's also, you can see around the outside, lots of F and M as symbols, which, what colour did that end up as? That ended up as, I'm just checking another photo as we speak, basically black. Oh, interesting. As I zoom in on one of my finished pictures, I spy that there are two different. One's like almost dark brown looking or just dull, and the other one is sparkly black. So the F is sparkly black, the M is either not sparkly black or it was a dark brown colour. But anyway, yeah, just like really frustrating seeing how the colours are coming out in these characters close up. But at this point, I'm invested. No idea why I'm then showing you the drills. It's not even a good picture, but obviously there's two random wrong colours that have come out in there. So yeah, let's move on very quickly. We're back to Sadness, poor Sadness, where I think I'm just kind of showing here again that irritation. Oh, I've got a wonky drill there as well, just under her mouth. The irritation at the fact there's lots of F, but clearly different background colours. And what are you supposed to do in this situation? Actually, let me know. Like, please save my sanity. What do you do in these cases? I'm very aware that a lot of the diamond art paintings that I have now purchased are cheapy ones. Whereas if it was a more expensive one, I've got some of those in my stash now too, the colours would be much better matched to the background. But in these cheapy ones, what do you do? Do you trust the process and do you apply per the symbols no matter what? Or do you use some artistic license, which I feel like I'm not that creative and I'm not that good at doing, but I may be having to rethink that. And I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, here we are just looking at, and hopefully it's zoomed in well enough. Oh, look, oh, it's so pretty. As I talk to you, I'm zooming in on just the photo even more, and you can see the, is it faceting of the top of the drills? And it looks quite pretty. Maybe I'll like reduplicate that in line with what I'm saying here so you can see it too. But what I was actually showing you multiple things here at the same time. Firstly, some bonkers colorways again. Also, how clear the symbols were, with the exception of some of the fives, admittedly. But the actual reason for the photo, sorry, I just had a fly try and get in my mouth, is the wax coming out of the pen. Because again, at this point, I'm just like, is this normal? Is this supposed to be happening? How do I get this off if it gets stuck there? So many questions. So many questions. We're back to Fear again and lots of number 6. So I'm just getting my drills. I'm really hoping that the fan noise isn't like too much in this as well because I really don't want to have to re-record it. Oh, okay. So 6 is like the grey sort of colour that you can see as sort of teeth, the two individual ones there, like at the top of the mouth area. That's the number 6. which you can clearly see is a pale blue. And don't even get me started on why the green is in there. Just so, so frustrating. We've then got, I don't even know who it is, the poor character up in the top. I feel like supposed to be elephantish looking. Don't even know, can't remember. May research and put it on screen for you, but they have no eyes. And again, also just so many Fs. I was actually, I was going to start this diamond art painting in the top right-hand corner. My mum taught me many, many years ago that when you're colouring in, you should start, I said it again, didn't I? The top right. There's a reason why I don't know right and left, except I do know right and left. The top left corner, because I'm right-handed, my mum always told me to start in the top left-hand corner, work across the top, work your way down, you won't ever smudge your work. So I figured the same would be true of diamond art painting, and in my head it also makes it a bit easier to peel off the cover, plastic cover. Which I've ended up doing that all sorts of different ways, especially where they're thin, they end up tearing, or you cut some off because it's all flappy and in the way once the drills are stuck down. And anyway, the reason I didn't start up there is because I was looking at it going, oh, that's a lot of F, which is all the same colour. But hold on, we go from black into red. Why are they all the same colour? I don't understand. I don't know what to do. And so I decided not to start there. But also, where is its eyes? And also, which character is that? Help me, help me, help me, please. And now I've lost where I am on my pictures. Yeah, I think it's just jumped position because of the fact I rotated it so that I could see. So I think we're now here. We're now back, I think, to sadness and anger and a bit of joy and disgust. And I don't know why we're taking this picture. It might be to admire the fact that actually, from a distance, anger doesn't look all that bad. Which was almost annoying by this point. We've then got whoever it is, the pink one. Oh gosh, I can't remember any of their names. Up in the top actual right corner. And again, just I suppose lamenting the fact that pink with all these reds and then some beigey colours in there and just what is going on? Oh, the eyes I think annoyed me again as well. Random blue spot on the eyes. I know it's not a spot, but you know what I mean. Oh, now things start getting exciting, she says. Have I completely gone out of whack with my... No. So, in all the YouTube videos that I was watching, I decided to make some additional purchases. And what I purchased was an Art Dot light board, which is what you can see discussed on top of here. Oh my goodness, especially working in the evenings after my son's gone to bed and it starts getting dark, makes it so much easier to see the colours. However, disappointingly, the ceiling lights in my living room are horrendous, and then it just makes the whole rest of my house look like a bit grungy. But yeah, so much easier to see. And again, you will notice that we've got millions of F symbols that make up her green hair, but are basically black drills. So at this point, I think I was seriously starting to question whether or not I should just carry on with what it says to do, or whether to actually shift it and switch to greens. Now I think. I mean, I didn't switch it in the end. I was trusting the process at this point still. As I look at the final image now, there's some regret about that, and yet it still kind of works. Kind of. I think that's all there was to say on that one. Just another viewpoint for you. Don't know why. I think in my head I was wondering whether the green of the picture on the canvas would go through the black, but yeah, I might just be repeating myself here, and I'm going to try and not do that to you. My other exciting purchase, also from Art Dot via Amazon, thank you very much, was the storage case. Game changer. Oh my goodness, I am so grateful that I invested in this. It has made life so much easier. In terms of storing drills, it's so much easier to find the ones that I want because it's mostly numerical. Obviously, some go alphabetical too. So far, I have just put the position on the legend and the DMC number. I'm not convinced they're DMC. I think if I had actual expensive kit stuff with proper DMC colours, I think there might be sometimes some noticeable mismatch between them. But yeah, so just storing that. I've just written my Sharpie pen on the top. Very aware that I can get Sharpie pen off even though it doesn't feel like it. But yeah, absolutely love, 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 love my storage case, and totally recommend to anybody getting involved in diamond art painting. They come in various sizes, blah, 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 no affiliations or anything. Maybe one day. Then we've just got the humour that sometimes gets thrown in. As you can see, the word lack in Disgust's mouth. There's probably some kind of irony there, but I'm not going to get into what it is. Again, disappointing with like the tone of the green within her face, given how pale her face is. Like the brighter greens in there would have been beautiful for her hair, but you will see in the final image that actually it's not that bad. And then, if my calculations are correct, we should now be on. There's two different pictures of the final image, and I don't know why. I feel like one of them is maybe with flash and the other's without, but I very rarely have flash on. No, I think it's just lights on versus lights off. So apologies if these are both still fairly crappy images. So then we've got the final thing. Ta-da! One of the things that stands out to me is one of my irritations about it. It's probably one of the original fold lines from where they like package up the cheaper versions of diamond art paintings. You can see a line across Anger's head. There are probably solutions to that I don't know what they are. Not worrying too much about it at the moment. Let's stick with Anger. So he's got some weird black dots going on around the side of his face, but actually, despite the weirdness that looked like his tie as I was doing it, and flies now sticking to my glasses, and whatever I thought about him as I was doing him, I actually think the overall look of Anger is actually really good, and I'm really pleased with him. Sadness down in the corner, poor thing. She has every right to be sad. She has no eyes. I get that she's probably like crying face, they would be closed, but I don't think there's a very clear distinction there at all. So a bit disappointing. And also you can still see that like really wrong contrasting brightness of the I mean, as you look, the right eye, but it would be her left eye. Let's not go there. Moving up to Disgust, I mean, there's no difference at all between the background and the hair of Disgust, because obviously using the same drill over that entire area has covered up any colour that might have been on the background, which totally makes sense because the drills are not in any way, shape or form see-through. There's a random blue bit there in her hair as well, and I just think that green contrast is just too much. Within her face, I think the lighter green worked. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can zoom in on YouTube. If you zoom in on her mouth, there's all sorts going on there. There's like a ridiculous number of colours, which I've come to learn is called confetti. Versus colour blocking, which is basically what happened in the background on the left-hand side of Disgust. Above that, again, can't remember the name. No major comments to make there. Obviously, we've got some random greens thrown in. I mean, I suppose I could still go in and change some of those drills. I don't know how easy that would be, given that obviously everything surrounding them is done now as well. But maybe that's something that I can think about. I've already mentioned the purple guy who has no eyes, indistinguishable at all apart from looking like an elephant. We've then got, oh, I feel like I should know this one. Who's the orange one? You start with sadness, joy, anger, and is it fear? Maybe it's fear. Except I think the purple one on the right maybe is fear. Anyway, I don't know. I'm fairly impressed with the orange one. I don't mind the contrast of the red and the orange quite so much there. It's probably not right in inverted commas. There's a weird bit going on just above Joy's head, but I think that's hand in the mouth. You've got the great big bulbous nosed one. Again, some weirdness going on there, but mostly fine. And then you've got, is it anxiety? Did I say on the right hand side? Just looks so wrong with that dark blue in there. And then joy. I love joy. There's a reason for that. I decided to test the theory of not trusting the process. So with joy, I very deliberately made the color choices based on what I think. And I think for the most part, it worked perfectly. And I'm really, really pleased with how Joy came out. So I guess there's my answer, isn't it, really? I have a green light now to go ahead and adjust based on what I think. I am aware, as I've moved further through my diamond art painting journey already, that there's a potential difficulty there in relation to the number of drills that I have. But again, as my collection grows, so as I record this, I've already started my third decent sized diamond art painting. I suppose I'm always going to have more coming in from other kits. So before I put this away properly, I may well adjust some of the drills in some of the characters where it's especially weird. But mostly, overall, I'm actually really pleased with how it came out, like I say, especially with Joy in the centre. And I have definitely caught a diamond art painting bug. I am very aware that purchasing diamond art paintings, adding them to favourites lists on things like Vinted, and doing diamond art paintings are potentially three different hobbies to have, some of which are obviously more expensive than others. I now have a spider on my arm. This is what you get for going outside, like in the darkening dusk. Was when I was outside filming earlier. Anywho, digressing again. So yes, once again, welcome to the calm chaos that is my life. As I was saying, diamond art painting, got the bug, loving my new tools. So I love my light board, I love my storage kit, I am loving diamond art painting. What do you think about my first proper foray into diamond art painting? Would you have changed some of the colours? Would you have trusted the process and done exactly what it said on the tin? Any tips on sealing it? Because that's my other big question, is like, what do I do there? Tell me everything. Thank you so much for joining me again and listening to my chaotic rambles. I hope you have gained something from this. And yeah, questions, comments below, like and subscribe if you wish to join me on further occasions in my little corner of the internet. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.